Coming up, the country's borders officially open for international travel. Also, beaches are open, but be careful as you enter the water. And hear what the Ministry of Agriculture is doing to promote farming. The Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition, starts now.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Shashina Wolf-Arcus, and as always, it is so great to have you with us. Topping news, the country's borders are now open for international travel. The first international flight is set to arrive on Grand Bahama tomorrow afternoon, and several hotels on the island are preparing to accommodate their guests. Well, in this report, our Jamila Mizik tells us what changes have been made due to the COVID-19 pandemic and plans for the way forward.
Several hotels on the island are preparing to welcome guests from the international market. Supervisor at the Royal Islander Hotel, Angela Russo, says the resort remained open throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, but admits occupancy levels were low.
We put in place all the requirements that were put in place. Masks had to be worn, no entry without masks. We have hand sanitizers throughout the property. We sanitize our rooms extra carefully after each guest checkout. And we've followed all protocols. The only thing that is closed at the moment is our dining room, our restaurant dining room. That is closed.
Russo says most of their bookings are walk-in guests. However, they're hoping that with the borders now open, occupancy levels will increase. Meantime, manager at Bell Channel Inn and Upstairs on the Bay restaurant, Lisbeth Knoll, says they are open for business and are following the necessary safety guidelines. She says bookings are limited, but they have had several requests from divers and boaters. She says they too look forward to serving their guests.
We still do the curbside pickup, or they can pick up from the restaurant now that we are open inside. And of course, everybody has to wear a mask. We ask the guests to wear a mask when they enter the restaurant, and when they leave, they have to wear a mask when they're on the property for the hotel. So we are doing a lot. It's a lot of work, but we feel good about it. We have enhanced our cleaning procedures for the hotel and restaurant. Each area has their own cleaning instructions, the front desk, the laundry room, housekeeping, and restaurant. And every time they sanitize, it will be logged for record keeping.
Now over at the old Bahama Bay Resort in West End, General Manager James Culmer says they have since made several changes to accommodate guests as well as protect staff, and notes that bookings for July are increasing.
This weekend is the U.S. holiday of Independence. We have a 84% room occupancy, and we have a 95% slip occupancy. Obviously, some people were booked from last year. Some of those dropped out because of the COVID-19, but a lot of them were kind of added.
However, he says with the borders now open, there are some concerns.
The primary place that our guest comes from is the hotspot right now. The hotspot of COVID-19, which is Florida and the U.S. And I guess my concern as, somebody responsible for the staff is even though we wear our masks and we do all these types of stuff, we're hopeful that we are covered and there isn't any exposure due to what might be an influx of people coming from a hotspot.
Jamila Mizik, ZNS Network News.
Well, public service drivers are now back to work. It's been a long journey for cab and bus drivers, and the July 1st reopening comes after much preparation. Jay Philippe has more.
Public bus drivers are back in business. The main bus stop on Grand Bahama is located in the heart of downtown. That is where bus drivers make their rounds. For many bus drivers, they are happy to be back to work, but others have mixed emotions.
It's good to be back. Because my customers was calling me and when we're going to start back. I'm waiting for this day, but like I say, but the government take a lot of precautions and safety for us to make sure that we open up with a blast. So right now, like I'm thankful. Although this is the first day, the business ain't like how we expect it to be, but hopefully later on down the road, we're going to pick up.
It's great to be back out here because but most especially what we do, we need the government to give us some more money because what they're giving us $1.75 isn't enough to run the bus, and then we can't carry full load. We only could carry 50% load, and that breaks us right down to nothing.
As a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, bus drivers must limit the number of customers on their buses, which means there will be less persons per trip and less income for each driver.
What the government did, we agree, most especially with the lockdown and stuff like that. I appreciate him doing that, because if he didn't do that, we'd have been a heap of mess. So I'm happy with that, but tell him make sure he straightens us up with some money.
As for measures being put in place for customers,
no mask, no service. So you can't enter my bus without mask. You have to. That's mandatory because I wear a mask. So for the safety of the customers, myself, we have to wear masks.
As for taxi drivers, they have been off the streets for months now and haven't had an income. President of the Grand Bahama Taxi Union, Harold Curry, says he's glad that drivers are now back to work.
I'm glad to see that they're back on the road, but they're here and they're taking the safety measures as possible. They know that safety is very important. Health and safety is very important on the island, so they have their hand sanitizers with them. They have their spray to deodorize the bus after everybody uses it, and they know the capacity, and they're also practicing social distances as well. So I'm glad and proud to see that they're back here and everybody can carry home $1 or $2 for the family.
I'm Jay Philippe, ZNS Network News.
As of Monday, beaches on Grand Bahama, Bimini, and New Providence were officially open after a 3-month closure due to COVID-19. While a trip to the beach spells relief, beachgoers are advised not to let their guard down, as grave danger may be lurking not far from the shoreline. Beaches are now open, and while many make their way to take in some sun, sand, and sea, there are many who are already reporting shark sightings near the shoreline. Director of Training at UNEXO, Christina Zanato, says this should be no surprise as this is mating season.
This is the time of the year in which nurse sharks will come to the shallows to reproduce. And they will go also in the shallows, more like in the mangroves, to give birth. So will lemon sharks.
A video circulating recently on social media with children embracing their summer fun and jumping into the water was met with mixed reaction. Zanato says, based on the video, these appear to be nurse sharks, and she is delighted to see the children embracing the sharks and are clearly aware of the breed of these sharks. She says, while this type of species are not aggressive creatures, she would not encourage this type of activity unless you are aware of the breed. Similarly, she says the same way a child should not enter a yard with unknown dogs. However, if you are out for a swim, she says you must be aware of your surroundings.
You just keep an eye on the shark and then slowly move out of the water. And again, we need to emphasize that depends also on the species of sharks, but in general, if we're not sure about the species, just gently, slowly move out of the water, keep an eye on the shark. This obviously does not include activities like if you're spearfishing. If you're spearfishing, should be a little bit more alert, obviously, and is obviously a completely different behavior. We're talking about regular swimmers here that enter the water and all of a sudden they notice like a dark shadow or a bunch of dark shadows next to them or close in proximity. That's where I say just keep an eye and slowly move out.
And she contends that it is important to remember that we need sharks.
We need sharks in order to have healthy fisheries. So I would recommend the people maybe not to disturb them, not throw anything at them, not to go in the water, maybe just move a little bit. You can just move, 50 feet off to one side and the sharks will be fine.
Switching gears now, the Ministry of Agriculture is taking a big step towards diversification here on Grand Bahama. The ministry is clearing land in the East End community for crop and livestock production. As Jay Philippe tells us, several farmers are benefiting from this initiative.
In a continued effort to assist farmers on Grand Bahama, the Ministry of Agriculture and Marine Resources recently completed a land clearing exercise to jumpstart farming for some 32 farmers. Michael Flowers, Extension Officer with the ministry, says this is one way that the ministry intends to boost the farming industry.
We thought it prudent, being that food security is very important, to empower the farmers and give them a renewed inspiration for what they do. So with the land clearing initiative, we spent about $300,000 to assist 32 farmers with both clearing and ripping. And in addition to that, we introduced livestock such as pigs, chickens, so on and so forth, so that we could just provide them with a little jumpstart assistance so that they could continue to produce at optimal levels.
The farmers are grateful for the assistance.
The assistance with it was amazing. We are now putting in full irrigation. This is for orchard areas, for mature fruit trees and medicinal trees. And then we're also going to be growing some produce in the ground. As you know, most of the produce we actually grow is in aquaponics. So this is very, very helpful. We're putting in our own pond to be able to grow tilapia, Pacific shrimp, and Australian red claw ourselves for the systems. Down this way, we're hoping we'd be able to fit 4 systems per acre. And so this end is for systems, this end is for orchards, and then way up there we have all the chickens.
We appreciate that so much here at Green Life. That is definitely a great step in the right direction as to where we're headed. And I'm 100% on board with the Ministry of Agriculture and all of their efforts that they are putting towards agriculture here in the Bahamas.
During the Hurricane Dorian, we have lost more than 115 pigs. We had 5 that would have been farrowing the following week. But with the government sending the pigs that they did, it'll bring our numbers up much faster than we had expected. I thought that we would have gotten piglets, but they sent us some gilts that were fully, mature, that was ready to be bred.
Harvey Woodside says his plan is to expand with green peppers in East Grand Bahama.
We're going to continue along the pepper trend, and if other avenues and other demands are out there for other products, we'll look into it also as well too.
Baldwin Darling says Emeritus Farm is in the process of reproducing chicken and pigs.
Now that we are starting over, we are going to try to see how much we can build, not only for my business of the barbecue, but to try to feed the nation.
Tiffany Dennison knows that a lot of work is still needed.
They've also sent us chicken food. They've sent us some cassava, potato slips, and I'm waiting for the chickens to come so we can help with egg production.
Flowers says the process of selecting the farmers was extensive.
We looked into our database. We selected registered farmers who were currently active with what they were doing, and we just put their names on the list to assist initially. It's not the end-all be-all. We do have more phases to come, but initially we wanted to help persons who were actively producing, and then we would assist persons later on the line who wanted to get into production.
I'm Jay Philippe, ZNS Network News.
My brothers and sisters, the Bahamas became an independent nation on July 10, 1973. What a day I'll never forget. I was a student at GHS, and we were chosen, along with other schools, to participate in the independence celebrations. I did not fully grasp the significance of what was happening at that time. At home, I looked at this gold jumpsuit that I had to wear, and all I saw was a Lone Ranger, out of place, with a gunning, 3/4 pitch, baggy gold pants. It was not until I saw the bigger picture, the overall color scheme, the black and the aquamarine and the gold coming together for a nation's flag, the Bahamas flag, that I understood that national beauty is not resident in a single individual, but in the complexity of the shades of its people. Psalm 33 says, "Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord." Outside of God, we're just another insignificant dot on the map. But with God, We are positioned, we are destined, we are overcomers. Our national anthem encourages us to lift our heads to, and for me personally, even beyond the rising sun. Independence is a time when with pride we salute our nation. This is the time when we ensure that the work of those who labor to get us to this day is not forgotten. At this time, we demonstrate pride to be a part of a prosperous nation. Everyone wants their country to be independent, successful, and self-sustaining. Can I remind you that singularly, we're not much, but united, going forward, upward, onward, together, we're a force to be reckoned with. We shall overcome. Happy 47th birthday, Bahamas. Happy independence. May God bless the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
And when we come back, a big day for seniors at the 8th Mile Walk High School. That story and more when we return.